welcome everybody from all over the world, from all over the United States. I really love being here with all of you this morning. My name is Paula Kettula. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have a private practice here in San Diego, California, where for the last 20 years, I have been working with kids and families. And my passion really is working with parents and helping parents to become the parents that they really want to be. So parents who are confident, who are empowered, who are leaders to their children. So I just recently went through this transformational leadership program, and I just was thinking like, oh my gosh, not only every person, but especially every parent really would benefit from this transformational leadership principle. So since then I developed this framework for parenting called transformational parenting. And within that is infused transformational leadership principles, along with my 20 years of experience and being a licensed mental health professional in the field. So the latest child development, neuroscience, all this good stuff. And we're going to dive deep into that today with my friend Valeria, who is a parent and who reached out to me and said, you know what, I'm just kind of struggling with some stuff. And we spoke because Valeria is also a powerful leader and a coach. And we are like, decided we are going to do this live for everybody, where we're going to dive deep into the struggles that many parents are facing. So we want to bring this from, you know, the secrecy, and not the secrecy, but like sometimes there's so much shame and guilt and things like that around that many parents don't even talk about it. So we are bringing all this out into the open so that you can see that the humanity of parenting, that it's common what these struggles are. The second thing I wanted to achieve by bringing this out into the open is just for everybody to have an experience of how does parent coaching look like, because it's kind of like a thing like, you know, what is this coaching? How is it different from therapy? You know, what really happens in the session, because people don't usually, you know exactly what it's about. And then there's this threshold to get help. Like as a therapist, it is not uncommon for people to wait for years. I had people come to me like, I've been wanting to come to therapy for 5 years. Here I am. And then we start therapy and they were like, oh my God, like, why didn't I come sooner? So I want to lower that threshold. And hopefully also at the end of this discussion, you will also leave with some awesome, amazing mindset tools and some kind of guidance or direction, like taking the one little thing even from today's discussion that can help you with your parenting. You know, that would be an awesome accomplishment already. So that's what this is all about. This is who I am. A psychotherapist getting into parenting and doing online shows and interviews and things like that. So that's me. And Valeria, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit first as well, so the viewers know who you are, and then we will dive in.
Yeah, so awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you for the introduction. It's amazing. And I'm a mom of 2 little ones. I have 4.5 and 2.5. I have a boy and a girl, and I'm a wife. I'm a parent coach, and I'm creator of the Parenting Toolbox Summit. That was this year. Yeah, it was running this year. And we had a great response, a great team working on that, and I enjoyed it a lot. Also, my second passion is the whole food plant-based, and I am a creator of the Supercharged Plant-Based Lifestyle show. So I have 2 passions, and the one that is soaring right now is the parenting one. That's why I'm talking to Paula, because I know all of it. I know the theory. The practice is a different thing, and our mind played tricks with us. And this is how, like, I went through the same transformational program that my friend Paula did. It just sucks that we didn't do it at the same time. I think that would be so
that
awesome.
would have been so awesome.
But yes, through the transformational program, I actually realized how important parenting is, and how easily we can damage or we can flourish our kids. So this was like a set point for me when I was like, okay, I need to get these things together. Yeah, so basically, I want for you guys to experience my experience and see if you can relate. And it's okay to be human and talk about your emotions and your feelings. And as Paula said, don't wait too long to make a decision to talk to reach out for support. The longer you go, the deeper you get into the situation that you're in, and sometimes you will, from what I saw, you start accepting it's going to be a new norm for you, which is not, like, don't do that to yourself. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm here, because with this COVID-19, I feel like I started to derail from what my parenting is all about. So, and I want to get back on track. And
Excellent.
Paula is the person who's going to help me, and I know her. She's amazing.
Great. I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, it's the struggle is like you said, is like, well, I know all these things. Like you did an entire amazing summit and a toolbox for parents and all these things. And yet there is this struggle how to put all that into practice. And just a little bit about the reason for that is that the results that we have in life are always related to the 90% of our being that is unconscious. So think about an iceberg. 10% of the iceberg is on top of the water. That's your conscious mind. So in your conscious mind, you could go, I want to change this. I want to do A, B, and C. This is the kind of parent I want to be. But 90% is the unconscious, where all our limiting beliefs live. So if there's a limiting belief that, I don't know, could be something like, I'm not good enough, I'm going to fail as a parent, you know, some kind of, a lot of things related to power, you know, parents feeling powerless and kids having the control, and there's this collapse into I'm powerless. So then it's that 90% that's actually driving the entire situation. That's where the dissonance comes from, where like conscious mind says, I want to be here, but the unconscious mind, unless we reveal what's in there, which we're going to do today, Valeria, we're going to go in there.
Yeah.
To see what's holding you back. Yeah, does that make sense? Have you probably heard that analogy as well? That iceberg.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I never, well, I don't want to say never. I do put it on myself. What my thing is that I was putting on my kids mostly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing is, and then we're going to really go in deeper, but kind of want to give some framework for people. The other thing is why where coaching is important is like, we can't solve the problem with the same mind that created it. That's where you were talking about the struggle, like you see many parents have, like, we've been trying years and years and years and years to change that. But the problem is that people are trying to change the problem with the very same tool that created the problem. We can't do that. It doesn't work. That's why all of us, including myself, like as a psychotherapist, I have my support. I have my people that I go to that help me and coach me through stuff, because I have the same mind. We all have the same mind, the same ego. Good. So that's a little bit of a framework for you guys there. So mom of a 4.5 and a 2.5-year-old. Yeah. What are their names?
My son, 4.5, his name is Oliver. And my daughter, she's 2.5, and her name is Sasha.
Great. What's the biggest challenge? What's the struggle right now that you would like to not have anymore?
So my struggle right now is not to react to my son's actions. He is energetic, full of energy, full of emotions. Well, and I taught him not to hold any emotions and feelings back.
So he's woo.
He's woo. And, before that, I used to go to work, come back from work, and it was a limited amount of time that I spent with this woohoo, you know what I mean? And it was fine for me. And I was completely connected, gentle parent. So now when we're all home, and he is a lot, and I love it. I love how free he is, freely um, expressing his feelings and emotions. The thing that bothers me that his little sister is not okay, because most of a lot of the times she is being not punished. Like if he's upset, he will let her know by sometimes scratch her, push her, punch her, and all of that stuff, which I can talk to my kids about what happens and the feelings, and talk to my son, and it's like, it's totally okay. You're too small. I mean, I know that you love your sister, but for now, like, you have this feeling and you just can't stop, and it's fine. It's just, for me, more and more I'm encountering with that, more and more I'm reacting, more and more I'm not okay with that. It's just, I look at my daughter and she's much smaller, and I feel like she's just living in the shadow of him. And sometimes when I think about my children, and if I will have, my daughter would be my only child, she'll be very different from what she is right now, because she's afraid to, not to speak, she'll speak up, but if the brother is near her, he's just so big and loud that she doesn't have space for her self-impression, for her desires to be like, to me, for attend to her desires. Sometimes she doesn't even tell me what she wants, because he's like all over. So I think it's like the pain seeing her, that she's not expressed the way which she wants to. And when she has this time with me, she grabs tight. She grabs so tight. And sometimes it's like hours of reading with her, hours and hours and hours. She'll like get it and won't let it go. And that's like another conflict. Like when my son wants, it's like when you have two children, they want you. And you're like this person who's like, who am I go to first? Especially right now in this situation when, like, my husband works and I'm home with two kids. They don't go to school. We can have any nanny. We can't really have anyone who will, take care of my son for like an hour, and I will be with my daughter, and then we'll switch. So both kids will get their attention, will get their cups full, will get this attachment in place. So that's where I am right now.
Okay. Yeah. I hear your pain, and let's go towards that a little bit more. So when Oliver is acting out, and does he have like, so he gets aggressive and he kind of does these things with Sasha, and he has tantrums as well. Yeah.
He has, but not that often. Not that often that I would want him to have, because for me, tantrum is something that he will release it.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and sometimes what I see, well, I understand by him acting this way with Sasha, it's basically he needs go back in my attachment. He wants me to help, and he craves that. That's why he's doing it.
Yeah.
My pain point is that I can't go with him there.
Why?
I feel like I want when he will like punch my daughter, she'll cry, and I will attach to her, and I will kind of like, it's kind of like, I don't know why I do it. why I don't just say like, Sasha, hey, like everything's fine, maybe distract her a little bit and then go to my son, because in this situation he needs me the most. And it's
Both
just
kids
something.
need you. Yeah, both
Yes,
kids need you.
of
So
course.
let's move into like your experience. So those are all kind of situations that are happening. So what are you feeling and experiencing when Oliver is like being really aggressive with Sasha? What are your thoughts like? What are your feelings like? Tell me a little bit more about that.
I get scared and I get angry. Scared, first of all, that he is capable of hurting her. And
so what does that mean about, what is the meaning that you put into that? What does it mean about him?
that's a good question. What does it mean about him?
Yeah. So if you get scared that he is hurting her,
yeah, that he is violent towards her.
He is violent. Okay.
Because
and how do you
yeah, so his face and expression, like the intensity of his grip on her, yeah, sometimes you can tolerate it, but I can see she's hurting, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah,
so he's angry, you get scared, and then you have this thought that my son is violent. Okay.
yeah.
How does that make you feel about yourself? If I'm a parent and my son is violent, how do you feel about yourself as a parent?
At this point, I feel powerless because he's small and I can't talk to him as to an adult, you know. I guess I don't know how to I can't really explain it to him. It's his feelings.
Yeah. And kids, their brain
really
development is, their brain development is not even there to be able to explain. But we're going to focus on you here, Valeria. So you are having thoughts, my son is violent and I'm feeling powerless.
Yes.
Do you have a history of experiences in your childhood or other times with violence or domestic violence, anything like that? Is there a history around that for you?
Not in my family. Well, my aunt, she had some issues with her husband. I knew about it, but I never kind of like, I think I saw it once, but I don't remember it.
Were you living with them, or you were visiting,
no,
or what's the
we're
connection?
living separate, but I think my aunt came to our place with her daughter, and then her husband came to, I don't remember why he came to. And something happened. I don't remember what happened though.
Yeah. Okay. And that's okay, because we, even if our conscious mind doesn't remember, we do have implicit memories that remain with us even from the womb. So let's go back to the I am powerless. Tell me more about that. Like when that happens, where do you feel that in your body?
I feel like, I think I feel it for a second.
It's very short.
Right now, like I can't reach because I need to make a couple of steps. And right now, at this moment, he is hurting her and she's being hurt. And it's like some steps that I need to do to kind of like get them apart. I think at this point, that's where the feeling is. And in my body.
Where is it in your body?
Let me see the last.
You can even close your eyes.
Like here.
Where?
I think it's more like my throat.
Your throat, yeah. How does it feel there when you're feeling powerless?
It gets almost like, you know, you want to cry, but you kind of hold it back. It's kind of like a pressure.
Yeah. When do you remember feeling this way as a child? Like if you let yourself float back in time, Were there times when you felt powerless and you felt the same feelings in your throat?
I guess. Well, probably a lot of situations, when your parent will say no to you, or you want something real bad, but it's not happening, so it's a lot of the sensation. It's a lot. Like it happened a lot in my life. And it's mostly from pushing my feelings down and not feeling them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's even to nowadays, I work on let my tears go. And sometimes I just can't. And it's like stuck here, in my throat. And I mean, it hurts. It hurts even here sometimes.
Yeah. We literally store these energies and these feelings in our body, So I hear lots of situations in your life that you've kind of experienced this powerlessness and experiencing that somehow it's not safe to express your emotions as well, which is why you were stuffing them.
Yeah.
So how else does this show up in your life, this I'm powerless? How else is it impacting your life?
Let's see. I would say recently in my business, I don't get a technical stuff of it. So sometimes I feel powerless, that I need someone else's help, like my assistant, which is great that I can go to her. But I think this powerlessness goes into aggression sometimes.
Of course it does. That's what your son is doing.
Yeah.
That's what your son is doing too.
Yeah.
Because he's feeling powerless. He's trying to take, kids who want to control are feeling powerless. They don't have control. So who better to try to control you than your little sister and mom? Because he can.
Yeah.
Do you see that connection?
Yeah.
So your son is kind of feeling the same way how you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. So that's what's beneath the iceberg that we talked about before. And that's why you're not getting the results as a parent, like where you want to be. Because if unconsciously you're feeling powerless in front of your, 4.5-year-old son, then you're going to keep feeling overpowered by him until you resolve this stuff. So see, it's not about any technique necessarily. It's not about any strategy. It's not about any parenting tool, which are great. And I'm not putting them down because I'm all about tools. But the starting point is you, and resolving this sense of powerlessness, which is coming up in other areas of your life too, like the business. Where else is it coming up for you? What's the cost? What's the price you are paying for feeling powerless? Where else are you holding yourself back? Where else are you holding yourself back?
I think it's with my husband not expressing what I feel. Or if I do, it's in the moment and it's not how it's supposed to be done. So I think that's what it is, that I hold back and don't talk to my husband about some things that are important to me. Or if I do, I will wait for some time until it just bubbles up and I just spit it out.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets kind of ugly. I mean, we do go around those kind of scenarios with my husband because he recognizes that too in me. But it's, how it is. We're all busy, and he might not catch me having like a side emotions or something, what he did or what he said, that I would not address like that night, something happened during the day. And for me, it's better. It's the best to address it that night and say like, hey, that's what's happening.
Right.
And I used to do it a lot, and now it's just so much stuff going a wrong way that there's so many feelings and emotions and things that happening. And I feel, and it's changing all the time too. So sometimes I feel like, okay, so I'm going to discuss it, and then something's going to change. So I don't even discuss it.
Mm-hmm. So you get to address it right away. What's stopping you in the moment to talk to your husband about this feelings that are coming up?
I would say the first, what I would say that I don't have a resolution. So I would say that I don't want that to be happening because this and this and that, but I don't know how to do it differently.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel like you need to know first, like before bringing it up, you need to know there's a kind of like needing to know something about it first?
I think so. I think
Yeah, kind of maybe relates to what you were talking about in your business as well. Like, it's hard for you to ask for that support and asking for things that you might not know. So in your relationship with your husband, what's the cost of this not talking about your feelings? What has it, what's the consequence of that in the
yeah.
relationship? What's the price you're
Well, the
paying?
biggest one is that he doesn't feel loved
Mm-hmm.
because I don't share something that is very important to me. And every time when I do share, he's just so grateful. And I feel like I'm robbing him of that closeness to me and seeing who I am for who I am. When we used to have this deeper conversation, especially after the transformational programs and stuff like that, then we really felt like one, and he was thanking me for me being me and sharing my thoughts and what I think, and that we can talk freely about a lot of stuff. And what I feel now that it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he feels it for sure. And I'm being more distant
Mm-hmm.
with my thoughts, my chatter in my head.
Yeah, yeah. And it's safer there. It's protective. Yeah. But it's building a wall between you and your husband.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you want to change that?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So you get to be courageous and vulnerable because this is all connected
I
to
agree.
your relationship with your husband, what's going on, kind of between you and Oliver. Let's talk about that next. You feeling powerless with Oliver. What's the price? What's the price that you're paying for that? You and Oliver is paying, and maybe Sasha too. What's the price for that?
That I'm not being a parent that he needs.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm giving him the power, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not. I mean, he takes it. He doesn't know what to
Of
do with it.
course, it's normal. Yeah,
I feel like he's scared of it too.
he doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it comes for you, this moment when things have built up and it there's an outburst, like you don't know how to handle that either. It just comes like, wah! He doesn't know how to handle it either. You get to grow together in this.
Yeah.
So then Oliver doesn't have the parent that he wants and he needs. What's the price you pay for yourself?
Well, the price is that I'm having a hard time parenting him, hard time for myself looking at my parenting, having this pain of seeing myself that for some reason I choose not to address his need of attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I see it. Every day I tell myself, why wouldn't you attach him, like go with him, connect with him? And for some reason, I just don't do that.
Mm-hmm. You don't
And
do
then
that
I
with
feel
your
like,
husband either.
yeah,
And probably some other relationships too.
oh yeah,
Yeah. So the price is huge.
yeah,
Yeah, it is. So, and typically with these things, like with these limiting beliefs, like I'm powerless, it's generalized into every facet of our lives in ways that we don't even realize. And it's holding you back in your business, holding you back as a parent, holding you back as a wife, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's exhausting living in that, you know, feeling like one is a victim of the circumstances, you know?
mm-hmm. Definitely.
How about Sasha? What's the price for Sasha? What's Sasha paying for this?
Well, Sasha's paying by being like punched and pushed and not being heard.
Mm-hmm. What is that going to teach her as a woman, as a girl?
Yeah, that she has no voice, she has no right, she has uh, no right to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's gonna, yeah, stifle her spirit, her voice, her power.
Yeah,
Yeah. So by empowering yourself, you empower your son, Sasha, your husband, and all this begins with your ways of being. So we are in the realm of being responsible. And I'm going to use this language because I know Valeria already knows what I'm talking about, right? In transformational leadership, when we live from this place, we are responsible. We can't blame the kids, right? We just went through this whole process and realized, well, it's not Oliver's fault. It's not Sasha's fault. It's not your husband's fault. It's not even your fault. So being responsible about something is not about fault or guilt or taking responsibility. It's being responsible. Like, wow, my sense of powerlessness that was unconscious up until now has had this big impact. Now that you're conscious about it, you can do something about it. Because yeah, right? We start with the ways of being, then we do the action, doing, and then we can have. So I can learn to be an empowered parent. So I can do the parenting the way that I want to. And then we can have an absolutely amazing, happy, fulfilled family relationships, things like that, right?
yeah.
What is the vision? Tell me about that. I see you kind of tearing up a little bit because you're probably thinking about that. Tell me about that vision for yourself as a mom, as a wife, and Oliver and Sasha as brother and sister.
Well, for my kids, for my son, I want to be more accepting. Accepting, and I would say that it's okay that he is that way,
Mm-hmm.
as long as I'll fix myself.
Mm-hmm.
The vision is just to be a mom that my son wants me to, that my
How
son
does
needs
that
me
look
to.
like? Paint me a picture. So Oliver goes crazy and has one of his moments. What do you want to be able to do?
I want to be able to do not to react, but come to him and be not to, yeah, without reaction, just go to him, like get them apart, and get Oliver first a little bit, so he'll get so show him that I understand, that I
Yeah.
understand him, that I
Awesome.
hear him, that I see him,
Mm.
that he matters.
Wow.
Because Sasha knows. Sasha gets more of me because she's so demanding.
Yeah. So Valeria, for you to do that, for you to create that for Oliver, what are the ways of being required of you?
For me, powerful,
Mm-hmm.
connected, loving, understanding, letting go. But I think the power and connection would
Mm-hmm.
do it to me, especially with my husband.
Yeah. And how
I
do we
think,
connect to people? How can you connect?
well, there are different ways, but you just talk.
You just talk. So vulnerability.
Yes. Open, vulnerable conversation,
Yes.
not holding anything back.
Yeah. Which is what you're doing now.
Yeah, just say my truth and show what's in me, and how can we do whatever needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
You probably can hear my kids upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah. So powerful, connected, loving, understanding, and letting go.
Yeah.
And how do you think Oliver might feel when mom shows up like that for him?
Yeah. He'll be in ease. I think he'll be in ease because that's what he's waiting
Yes.
for too long now.
And when he's at ease, what's going to happen to the aggression and the hitting and the scratching?
Yeah, it's not necessary anymore. There is no anything to prove anymore.
Yes, right. Nothing to prove, nothing to fight for, because his cup is filled by mom's love. This sibling rivalry, as you know, comes from kids feeling that there's a scarcity of love. There's a scarcity of attention and attachment. So kids go into the primitive part of the brain where they are like, I'm just gonna whack my little sister. It's like a survival of the fittest, get rid of her so I can have mom's love.
Yeah.
But like, imagine if we only had, like, we have a community of 20 people, we have a tiny piece of bread, and there's hunger. Everybody's going to fight for the bread, representing the love. If we have abundance of bread, nobody's going to fight. So, but you create that love and that understanding and that connection with Oliver, and you get to go to places that are so uncomfortable for you, which is trusting, opening, vulnerable. Even stuff like, I don't know. Parenting is actually a lot about, I don't know. You don't have to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about with your husband? Like, what's going to change? What's the vision for you and your husband?
I want us to be more attached and connected. And it just hurts me that, like, a couple of months ago, no, more, 4 months ago, I asked him, like, how would you feel that you're loved? What do you want? Like, what is love for you? What do you want to feel more loved? And we both answered the questions, and the connection is the biggest one. Because there are lots of misunderstanding, there are lots of misconception when people don't talk. That creates a lot of things in life that are not pleasant. So, and I know about all of that, but it's just sometimes I like this tortoise, like whatever, that you just kind of like suck everything in, and you're just boiling in this, like, yeah, drifting.
Yeah.
Instead of just going out and show what's going on inside of you. and be okay with being judged. Well, people
That's
judge us
it.
anyway.
They
Who
do.
cares?
Who cares? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know that he's not going to judge me. He'll
Mm-hmm.
want to understand me, and I want him understand him too.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I think another thing that with him, talk to him, he is a book that hard to crack open.
Mm.
He haven't been through a transformation. That's my dream, for him to
Mm.
go through transformation and understand that's what it is. Like open this up. He'll open some areas, and it's very hard for me to go deeper with him and
Mm-hmm.
let him cry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did it a couple of times, and he had like a big relief, and our relationship went on a different level for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's what I need. Well, I get to
You get to.
progress with him. And that's going to give me a lot of strength and happiness, to be close to him, to be one.
Mm-hmm. I feel the vision for your family in my heart so much.
Mm,
Yeah. Do you feel that too?
I do.
Where do you feel that in your body? This
It,
vision?
it's right. Well, it's right where the sternum is, the end of the
Mm.
sternum.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. How does it feel there? How could you describe that to us a little bit?
Yes, it's warm, it's tingly. Now my feet are tingly, and
That
I'm just,
excitement. Yeah.
it is an excitement of a new action, new ways of being, a new action, to see myself, how can I open even more and let him in and let myself out.
I love that. Let myself out. Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get out and
Awesome.
he can participate, like see me, and so he'll be inside of my bubble, inside of my circle.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So very different feeling and sensation in your body, even from like where we started from the
Yeah.
tightness of the throat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about Sasha? What would this mean? What would all this mean for Sasha? How do you imagine? What's the vision for her? And what do you imagine like how this change will impact her in a positive way?
Well, for her, I would say that she can flourish and grow
Mm.
up who she uh, created to be. Um, Full potential for her, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yes. She doesn't have to live in the shadow of her brother right now, feeling powerless. Do
Yeah.
you see how the powerlessness is trickling
Yeah.
to Oliver, to Sasha?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So she gets to feel powerful. She gets to be a strong woman, you know.
Yeah.
We children nowadays, get to be strong to be able to handle the world out there.
That
Right?
is true. That is true.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you gonna do next?
Well,
Like now that we've talked about this a little bit, and you're feeling this vision, that's your vision, and the vision is bigger. Always have the vision be bigger than the fear. So that when the vision is clear, this is what I want for my family, as a parent, for my kids, that is so clear, and you ground yourself in that every single day, that even if the fear is there, like, I don't want to talk, or we get all kind of excuses come up why we shouldn't say something that's on our heart, right?
yeah.
That we move through it anyways. Committed action. I talk about be a pro parent, like a pro football player. They can't go like, I don't feel like playing today. I'm just not gonna play. You can't do that. Or TV host, or anybody who's like out there super successful. You gotta be a pro. You gotta be a pro parent and do stuff that's super uncomfortable. Anyways, because that aligns with your vision. So what do you get to do? What's the plan?
Well, I'm very excited for tonight that I'm going to talk to my husband. We're going to have some clearing conversations,
Yes.
and I'm going to
Yeah.
let my feelings out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it's going to hurt, but this is something that I'm excited because I need to let it out.
Yeah. That is, you said it, so important, this clearing things with people in relationship, clearing things with your husband, clearing things with our kids. You get to have a clearing conversation with Oliver, and you got to go to him and apologize.
Yeah, I apologize every day,
Mm-hmm.
but it keeps happening. So at some point, I see him being numb to my apologies.
Yeah. So this apology is going to be different. I feel like it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be coming from a different place.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah. So clearing things with him as well. Clearing things with Sasha. Do you see, like, it's completely like clean plate, starting over, starting fresh. And you get to create. You don't have to wait for your husband to do anything, your kids nothing. You don't have to rely on anybody else to change this. It's you. You have the power, like boom. Transformation happens like this. We don't have to wait for 10 years for this thing to happen. And I hope the listeners there also hear this. Like, you don't have to like read 2 million different books
Yeah.
to do this. This is going for Valeria. This is going to happen like today, tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
Very effective. I can feel it.
Yes.
I know
right.
it works because I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
I just
You've
stopped.
done it before. Mm-hmm.
And that's why reaching out for support is so important, because we do it and then we stop and then we go down.
Yeah. What
Then,
stopped you? What was it that stopped you?
I think it was a lot. It was a lot of things. It didn't really stop me. I just started to react. I started to react because a lot of things happening.
Overwhelmed?
It's overwhelm. It's overwhelm and power, like not knowing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure for kids is the same, not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Their routine changed a lot.
Right.
As ours too. So
yeah.
Not knowing is one thing, but what not knowing, for them, there is no fear. For me, there is a fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not knowing, I would say, something that I am capable of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there was another limiting belief that was kind of coming in the way. Am I capable? What if I'm not? And again, connecting it to the iceberg. Now, this is what's driving the behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move back into, okay, what's the declaration? So the declaration, you're going to do some clearing conversations. What else? What other declarations or steps are you going to take?
Yeah, so clearing conversations and going into, empower myself that I actually can do. Clear my plan for my business. Just be very clear. Go through steps. I think that's gonna help me a lot, because right now I'm sitting in this position when I know that I can do it. I know what needs to be done. It's figuring this out and what are the steps. I think the more I am avoiding looking in there, the more I'm going deeper into doubting myself.
That's right. And that's where sometimes the overwhelm and the busyness is actually what that does, is that it's an intimacy issue, because we get so busy with stuff that we don't get intimate, like with what's going on with my business, what's going on with my kids, what's going on with my husband, because we distract. by getting super busy. So that's how it becomes like we're not intimate with these things. And the other important thing is like when we are working on transforming these limiting beliefs like I'm powerless, the step number one is to fully experience and accept it. So it's not like, no, I don't want to feel that way. No, I don't want to feel. But you actually let yourself fully experience and acknowledge, like, holy cow, like, yeah, I feel powerless and I'm doing this and that because I'm feeling that way. Because it's only when we are able to feel and experience something that we can move through it. So the other step when we are changing these limiting beliefs is to kind of like create a new story, create a new belief. I am a powerful mom. I am a powerful wife. I am a powerful businesswoman, because you actually are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the I am powerless, these are so ingrained that it might not go away right away, and that's fine. That's fine as long as we don't act from that place. And we nurture and nourish this other one, this I am powerful one, I am empowered. And we go towards that as we let go of this one.
Yeah.
And so you see how now that transformation can start happening. So taking moments and getting out of that reactivity, like, you know, Oliver does something and then there's anger right away. Take a breath, ground yourself in that I am, having a declaration of being. That's what I do with my parents that I work, having a declaration of being, like, I am a powerful mom or woman. And then repeating that, grounding yourself in that. Yeah. And this is just, oh my gosh, like, yeah, you're just going to break through in your business, in your marriage.
Yes. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to start kind of closing this, wrapping things up here. So how are you feeling now? Tell us a little bit about your experience in this coaching session.
I loved it. I loved it because it gave me a different perspective. I think I had the blind spots, as everyone does. We do have blind spots. And as you said, like having the same mindset and tools and trying to create something different just doesn't work.
Right.
And I see it in my parenting coaching, my whole food plant-based coaching, that people don't see something that we can. So I experienced a very gentle way of how you actually pointed me kind of the way to what I don't see. And then I see it, like I saw it. And I'm like, oh yeah, duh, it's there. Why wouldn't I see it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very powerful to see a blind spot and then act like on it. Because like this is obviously that's what it is.
Yeah. And when you transform this, now you're going to get the results that you want as a parent, as a person, in your business. But yeah, we all have those blind spots. That's why, having a coach, having a therapist, somebody along your side who can point this out and guide you through this journey. It's a journey. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for going to these places that were, painful.
Yeah.
It's painful to go. But like I said, we can only move through these things when we do let ourselves experience the pain.
Yeah.
So super important not to be afraid of the pain. And I can't wait to hear the transformation, because now you can tend to Oliver too.
Yeah.
Because his anger and aggression is coming from his pain.
Oh yeah.
And his pain gets to be nourished and nurtured as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
Great. Yeah, I feel that. I totally feel that. Awesome. And I'll follow up with you and we'll connect later to, not just to leave you hanging, but we'll make sure that we connect. But I know that this it was just a matter of a couple things clicking, and now you can like
Exactly.
really, yeah, really move forward with this. So great. And thank you everybody who was here with us today. We can take just a couple more minutes. If there's anybody who has any questions, go ahead, type it in the chat. And I would also love to hear like, yeah, what did you hear? Like everybody always hears a little bit different things, little different bits and pieces. I would love to hear like, yeah, what did you get out of this conversation today? And type it in the chat. And as you do that, I will also drop a link there to have one of these coaching calls with me. There it is. So copy that link and put it somewhere. It goes to my calendar and we can do one of these calls as well. I am doing these calls because I love this work. Right now, the calls are all free. Next week, they are going to be $97. So, and there's limited amount of the cost. So go ahead and book the call like today. So you can get in and we can have, I would love to have these powerful conversations with you too, and kind of see where you can take, oh, okay, let me do that again. I just sent it to, okay, there we go. It just went to Valeria. So did you get it now? Let me make sure that you got that. Okay, great. So Anastasia says, I've been meaning to get coaching help and had some doubts because I was not sure how this works. Now I am certain I would like to proceed. Oh, yes.
Yay!
Awesome. This is, yes. I am so glad, Anastasia, you were here because you got to really see how this works. This is why, Valeria and we were like, we could have had this conversation over the phone or just the two of us, but we were like, let's have people, let's invite people so they can have this experience. And tell us one more time, Valeria, how do you feel now? How do you feel now after?
Well, I feel ready for an action. I can't wait for the evening, so I can talk and connect to my husband and see what's going on, checking in with him and going deep into what's going on with me and spilling my, whatever it is, what I've been going through, what I'm feeling. And go back and like see my kids, and be different, be who I am actually.
Be who you are. It's sometimes a return to back who we are. Returning back to that. So something that was like scary at first, like, oh, talking to my husband, I don't really want that. Now you're excited. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Shanta, thank you for being open and transparent, letting us. You are very welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. I'm glad that it answered a lot of questions for you. And then Nigel says, I thought the session was great, but I am worried that I would start to shame and blame myself. I would have loved to see her get more validation for her difficulty and stress. I wasn't clear what was under her iceberg tip as to why she was holding back. Okay.
Honestly, it's very personal for everyone.
Mm.
That's what I see with clients. It's very like me opening up like deeper doesn't mean for you'll have the same reasons to act maybe the same way or a different way. So I feel like it's very personalized. It's very personal why you act or not act, like do whatever you want to do, but you want to shift. I think it's very different from person to person.
Right. Yes. Right. It is. And so, Nigel, what was under the iceberg was this limiting belief that I am powerless, that we identified for Valeria, that was just kind of driving all these different parts of her life. And And then you said that I'm worried that I would start to, the coach, whoever your coach is, they can work you and support you through the shame and blame. And it's important to verbalize that, because one way that we work through shame is to talk about it, to bring it out into the open. Shame really builds and breeds in the secrecy, in the darkness of not talking about things. So so it's important, like whoever your coach is, whoever you're talking about, is to let them know, or even say things like, hey, I kind of feel like I need more validation, which is what you were worried about. I completely understand that worry, but again, stepping into your power and telling your coach, this is what I need. And coaches will also ask, a good coach will also ask, what do you need from me? With Valeria, because I know what you've gone through, we can have this language, and I can kind of go with her very quickly to the place of being responsible, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because, and so we have this background and the relationship already. So with someone else, it might look a little bit different. So hopefully that answers your question. The powerlessness really resonated. Yeah. It's very common. It's very common for many of us to feel powerless. And again, it oftentimes relates to like the way we were raised as children. One of the emotional needs for children is to feel powerful. And as parents, you get to help them feel powerful, so that when Oliver and Sasha feel powerful, there is no reason or need to react, right?
Exactly.
Great. And Naija, if you want more clarification, feel free to email me. Let me put my email here too. So it's Paula Kettula, LCSW.com. And then I'll put and then the link. Yeah, these calls are free right now. So I love to chat with people. I have cleared my entire psychotherapy schedule for next week, so I can do these calls. And like I said, on Tuesdays, from Tuesday on, they'll be $97. Oh, and on Tuesday, I'm also doing a webinar at 10 o'clock Tuesday morning about transformational parenting, where I really go deeper into what is this transformational parenting framework. And we're going to talk more about that on Tuesdays. And I think there's going to be an email going out where to register for that as well. If you don't get the email, make sure that you make a note of my email and email me, and then I can get it to you. Okay. Great. Yes. Well, we'll wrap up with that. Thank you so much, everybody. It's so special to feel your presence. Like, we are all in different parts of the world, but I feel your presence, and I feel your commitment to transformation as a parent and as a person. So great. And thank you, Valeria. Super awesome.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you so much. You are amazing as always.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
All this is just, having you and everybody here is just like, I get to like fulfill what my dream and task in this life is, which is supporting parents, and through supporting parents, supporting kids and supporting humanity. That's how big it goes in the end.
I love your vision.
Hi, September. Great. Thank you, everybody. Okay, you all have a great day. I can't wait to see you on those coaching calls. Can't wait to see you at the webinar on Tuesday at 10 o'clock.